Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are really digging into something fascinating. It feels like a glimpse into the very near future of online marketing.
Yeah, it really does. We've got some excerpts here from an article by Srinidhi Ranganathan, sometimes called India's Human AI, which is quite a title.
It is.
And
the article's called Driving Website Traffic with Custom GPTs.
And it's not just theory, it's laid out like a step-by-step guide. The claim is it reveals a really powerful cutting-edge way to get what the author calls massive website traffic.
Right, specifically using custom GPTs and looking at how this plays out in 2025.
So our mission today is pretty clear. Let's unpack this guide. We'll go through the steps Ranganathan outlines and, try to understand how you might actually use these strategies.
Exactly, and the promise is, it's pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah.
Generating insane targeted traffic. I mean, that phrase really jumps out.
It does, and doing it without the usual headaches, apparently.
Yeah.
So no huge ad spends, no draining cold outreach.
No burnout from just grinding out content. That's the pitch.
Yeah, the source paints it as scalable, efficient, and ridiculously futuristic. It sets a high bar.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, the foundation. The article argues that the whole digital marketing landscape has dramatically shifted in 2025.
Mm-hmm. And the reason? Custom GPTs. They're more accessible, more powerful.
And the key idea is that the smart marketers, they're already on this.
Right. The source says they're quietly using them to explode their website traffic. Quietly. That suggests it's maybe not common knowledge yet, or at least not common practice.
Giving them an edge. So this dramatic change, why now? Why is accessibility the trigger for such a big shift? What's different?
Well, think about it. Building sophisticated interactive tools used to be, really resource intensive. You needed serious coding skills, lots of time, money.
Big barrier to entry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But custom GPTs, as described here, they kind of abstract a lot of that away. They let almost anyone build these personalized AI assistants.
Okay. So you can train them on specific knowledge, get them doing specific tasks.
Without needing to be a machine learning expert yourself. So this democratization, if you like, means more people can build tools that solve real user problems interactively.
And that's the game changer, because these tools can also point back to your website.
That seems to be the core argument. You build something useful quickly that people need, and you embed a pathway back to your own content or services. That's very different from just hoping people find your static blog post or click a generic ad.
And the quietly using them part. That implies there's still an opportunity here, right? It's not saturated.
That's definitely the vibe from the source. It suggests that while everyone's talking about AI, using it specifically like this for measurable traffic via custom conversational tools is still kind of an emerging strategy.
So an early adopter advantage, if you figure this out now.
You could potentially carve out a real niche, build traffic streams while others are maybe still focused solely on the traditional stuff.
And that appeal, getting that exploded traffic without the usual grind, without ads, cold outreach, or burnout. That's got to resonate with a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. Anyone who's felt the squeeze of rising ad costs or the slog of content promotion, the idea of a potentially more efficient, less exhausting way to get results is, it's incredibly appealing.
So if the rules have changed, as the author suggests, this isn't just adding one more tactic to the list.
No, it could be more fundamental. Maybe rethinking where custom GPTs fit in your overall strategy. Could they become a primary driver of qualified leads, freeing up resources? That's the potential the source seems to be highlighting.
It's definitely framing it as a major shift. And the guide is careful to define what it means by custom GPT in this context. It's not just any chatbot.
Right. That's a key distinction they make early on. Technically, they're personalized AIs built on OpenAI models. But the focus here is on their capabilities for driving traffic.
Like acting as niche experts, solving problems in real time.
Exactly. Those build user value. But the crucial bit, the part that drives the traffic, is that they can be instructed to recommend content or links.
Like yours.
Yeah.
The source even puts that little winking eye emoji in there.
Yeah, they're not subtle about the core mechanism. It's about guiding the user helpfully towards your stuff.
And there's another layer mentioned. These GPT pages themselves can be indexed, like found on Google.
Apparently so, according to the source, which means they're not just destinations people have to be sent to directly. They could pop up in organic search results.
Okay, that adds another dimension, so it's discoverable too.
And the author uses this really memorable phrase to sum it up: an AI-driven content ambassador that never sleeps.
I like that. An ambassador paints a picture, doesn't it? Something working for you 24/7, understanding user needs, and then gently pointing them your way.
Yeah, an active, intelligent referrer, always on, always ready to help, and guide. That's the potential power being described right at the outset. It sets the stage for why the strategy could be so effective.
From passive content just sitting there to this active conversational problem solving that leads back home to your website.
Precisely. Which brings us neatly to the first actionable step in the guide, picking the right niche.
Right. It's not enough to just build a GPT. It has to be the right GPT. Focused on, what was the phrase? Highly searched problems.
That's the key insight here. The secret, as the author puts it, is to build your GPT around something people are already actively looking for solutions to. Basic supply and demand, really.
So find the pain points. See what questions people are actually typing into search bars.
Exactly. User need comes first. If your GPT solves a real, widely felt problem, people will be motivated to find it and use it.
Makes sense. So how do you find these problems? The guide mentions some tools.
Yeah, it lists some familiar ones. Google Trends, Uber Suggest, Answer the Public. Standard SEO research tools for finding keywords and questions.
Okay. But then it suggests something a bit more meta.
It does, using ChatGPT itself, with an SEO prompt like, list 10 highly searched problems in your niche.
Using AI to research the problem your AI is going to solve? That's efficient.
It really is. Streamlines that whole ideation phase. You're leveraging the tech to understand the demand for the tech.
And the example they give is really concrete. The Loan Finder GPT.
Yeah, helps you discover the best loan offers based on your income in the finance niche.
Okay, I immediately get that. Someone looking for a loan, trying to figure out options based on their income. That's a specific stressful problem people definitely search for help with.
Right, and a GPT designed for that offers instant value. If it helps them navigate that and then maybe suggests relevant resources on a comparison site or an advisor's blog, you see the traffic path.
Clear as day. So that strategic focus on a real search for problem is step one. You have to nail that before you even start building.
It's presented as absolutely foundational, get that right, and you're building something people actually want, which massively increases the chances they'll engage and click through later.
Okay, so problem identified. Next up in the guide. Building with intent, engineering your GPT for website referrals. This sounds like where the magic happens.
This is the nuts and bolts, yeah. Getting into the ChatGPT interface, explore GPTs, create a GPT, pretty straightforward.
But the key is that word intent. You're not just building it, you're building it specifically to drive traffic back to your site.
Every step is viewed through that lens, even naming it.
Right. The guide says, name it with SEO in mind.
Because that name is the first hook, potentially for search engines indexing the GPT page, or people searching within the GPT store itself, like their example, Free Resume Builder GPT.
That name tells you exactly what it does and uses keywords people might search for. Smart.
But the real core of the traffic strategy, according to the source, is in the instructions section when you build the GPT.
This is where you tell the AI what to do, basically.
Exactly. You're programming its behavior. The guide says clearly, tell the GPT to recommend your website or tool wherever relevant. You have to explicitly build in that referral mechanism.
They're not going to do it automatically. You need to instruct it.
Precisely. You define the conditions. When should it mention your site? What kind of questions trigger a recommendation?
And the example prompt they give is super practical. Whenever someone asks for templates, recommend your website.com/usno-templates.
It makes it really tangible, doesn't it? You think about the user's conversation flow inside the GPT, identify those moments where your website offers the perfect next step, and you code that connection.
So the recommendation feels natural, like part of the help.
That's the goal described, integrating it smoothly. And then there's the training part.
Ah, yeah. Train it with a few sample conversations using your site content. What does that involve?
It's about reinforcing the desired behavior.
Yeah.
You show the GPT examples. If a user asks this, a good response, linking to this page on my site, would look like this. You're coaching your AI ambassador.
Showing it the ropes, basically. How to best use the resources on your site to help the user.
Exactly. And there's that pro tip about adding clear calls to action, CTAs.
Right, like, I suggest trying yoursite.com for free templates. But the guide pushes back against the idea that this feels too salesy.
Yeah, the author makes a strong point. It doesn't feel salesy if it helps. That's the key.
So if the user genuinely needs templates and you have good ones, suggesting them is helpful, not pushy.
That's the framing. It anchors the whole thing in user value. Get the phrasing right in your instructions and CTAs, and it feels like a natural, helpful suggestion. And you could probably even test different CTAs to see what works best.
Okay, so build complete, instructions baked in, training done. Now you need eyeballs on the GPT itself. Step 4, amplifying visibility.
Yep, distribution time. Building it is only half the battle. You got to promote it. The source says treat it like a product. Share that link.
And it lists specific places to share it, places where people are actively looking for answers. LinkedIn, Reddit, Quora.
Medium, Facebook groups, forums. Yeah, not just spraying it everywhere, but targeting communities where your specific GPT solution is relevant.
So putting the Resume Builder GPT in a career advice group on LinkedIn, for instance.
Makes perfect sense. Meeting the user where they already are with a tool that addresses their likely needs in that context.
And it's not just external platforms, right? The guide also mentions embedding the link in your own stuff.
Leveraging assets you already control. Blog footers, email signatures, maybe a dedicated landing page about the tool, YouTube descriptions, anywhere your existing audience might see it.
Creating multiple pathways for people to find this useful tool.
Exactly. And the example sharing text they provide is simple and effective. Want to learn how to budget better? Try our AI budget coach GPT here link.
Benefit first, then the tool. Clear and direct.
It highlights the value immediately. So this whole step is about driving that initial traffic to the GPT, targeting the right people who are most likely to find it useful, and then, crucially, follow those built-in recommendations back to your website.
Get them to the ambassador first.
Yeah.
Okay. But then there's step 5, which adds another interesting layer. Leveraging organic discovery. Optimizing the GPT for search engines.
This was a really cool point. The claim that custom GPT links are indexable by search engines.
Meaning Google might actually find and rank the public page for your GPT.
That's what the source suggests. It's not just a hidden tool you have to link to directly. It could become an organic entry point.
So, you can do SEO on the GPT itself.
Seems so. The guide talks about adding target keywords in the GPT's name and description, using phrases people might actually search for, like free AI-powered budgeting assistant, or instant help with loan comparison using GPT.
You're basically telling Google what your GPT is about, hoping it ranks for those terms.
Exactly. So someone searches Google for help, finds your GIT page organically.
Interacts with it, gets value, and then gets referred to your website through those instructions you built in earlier.
Right. The guide spells out the result. Organic traffic will start hitting your GPT page, which funnels traffic back to your website.
So the GPT becomes its own little organic traffic magnet, feeding your main site. That adds a whole passive traffic dimension.
It really does. A potentially scalable one, too, if it ranks well.
Okay, so if one optimized GPT can do that, the guide then kicks it up a notch in step 6. This is the secret sauce, according to the author. Building a network of GPTs.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting from a scaling perspective. Don't just build one. Build like 5 to 10 of them.
Whoa. Okay, why?
Each one is hyper-focused on a different keyword, a different micro-niche, a different specific problem within your broader area.
So instead of one general tool, you have a whole suite of specialized assistants.
Exactly. Think of that marketing agency example they gave. Not one generic marketing GPT, but
An SEO audit GPT, an ad copy generator, a funnel planner, hashtag strategy, competitor spy.
yeah,
I remember. Each solving a very specific task.
right. Someone needs ad copy help. They find that GPT. Someone needs SEO help. They find the other GPT. You cover more ground, capture more specific search intents.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Wider net, more targeted solutions.
And then this is key. You link them together and link them all back to your main site, of course.
So they form an ecosystem. You use the ad copy GPT, and it might suggest trying the funnel planner next, or link to your service page.
Precisely. The guide calls this network your AI-powered SEO cluster.
A cluster. I like that. Implying they support each other.
Yeah, potentially boosting each other's visibility, maybe signaling relevance to search engines, and creating multiple pathways back to your core website.
And the metaphor they use for the result is pretty vivid. Each one drives a trickle of traffic, but together they create a tidal wave.
That really paints the picture of the cumulative effect, doesn't it? It suggests that scaling this network strategy could transform these GPTs from a small side channel into a truly significant, maybe even dominant source of targeted traffic.
A tidal wave of traffic, built from lots of little AI streams.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a powerful vision. But if you have all these streams, you need to know what's flowing where. Step 7, tracking success. analytics.
Absolutely crucial. You can't optimize what you don't measure, especially with a network. The guide recommends using UTM parameters.
Right, those tags you add to URLs to track the source, medium, campaign.
Yeah, standard stuff for web analytics.
Standard, but essential here. You need unique UTM links for each GPT, maybe even for different types of links within a single GPT, so you can see exactly which AI, which prompt sends someone to your site. So you know which GPTs are your star performers.
Exactly. The guide mentions tools like Bitly or Rebrandly for link shortening and basic click tracking, or going deeper with Google Analytics using campaign URLs.
But it also mentions tools like Clarity or Hotjar for looking at what happens after the click.
Yeah, that's the next level. It's not just did they click, but what did they do once they landed on your site from that GPT? Are they engaged? Are they bouncing? Where are they clicking?
So heat maps, session recordings, seeing if the traffic is actually any good.
Precisely. It helps you understand the quality of the traffic from each GPT. Are they finding what they expected? Is the landing page working? It allows for data-driven refinement of the whole system.
And the metrics you'd watch in Google Analytics would be things like traffic from gpt.openai.com, but also time on site, bounce rate for that specific segment.
Correct. High engagement signals you're attracting the right people and the GPT is setting the right expectations. Low engagement might mean you need to tweak the GPT's recommendations or the landing page. It's all about closing that feedback loop.
Which leads perfectly into step 8, maintaining momentum. You need to keep these GPTs updated. They're not set and forget.
Such an important point. These aren't static assets. To stay useful, they need fresh information.
Like what kind of updates?
The source suggests feeding them links to your newest blog posts, telling them about new features on your tools, updating them on current offers or events, basically keeping their knowledge base current.
So they're always recommending the latest and greatest stuff from your site.
Exactly. You don't want your AI ambassador recommending an article from 2 years ago if you have something better now, or promoting a sale that ended last month.
That makes sense for user experience. And the guide links this directly to engagement. The more dynamic your GPT is, the more people stay and explore.
Right. If users know the GPT is current, they're more likely to come back, trust its recommendations, and follow those links. It keeps the referral engine running smoothly. The guide even suggests adding things like monthly guides or seasonal prompts inside.
Like the example, June 2025 resume hacks you can't miss inside the resume GPT. Gives people a reason to check back in.
It keeps it fresh, relevant, and valuable. This ongoing maintenance is key to the long-term success of the strategy, ensuring the traffic doesn't just dry up after the initial launch.
Treating it like a living part of your marketing ecosystem.
Exactly, not just a one-off build.
Okay, now there's a bonus trick in step 9. Using these GPTs in paid campaigns. How does that work?
This is a really interesting twist. The idea is to run low-budget ads, but instead of sending people to a normal landing page,
You send them directly to a custom GPT.
bingo. Specifically on platforms like Instagram stories, LinkedIn messages, maybe Reddit communities, places where a direct, useful tool might be more appealing.
And the ad copy focuses on the utility of the GPT.
Yes, like that example. Try this free AI that tells you the best credit card for your salary. It's offering immediate value, a free tool, not asking for anything up front.
Okay, so the click leads to the GPT.
The user gets value from the GPT. It solves their immediate problem or answers their question.
And then the GPT recommends they visit your website for more info or related resources.
Right. The funnel described is click -GPT-value-website, visit win, with the win being the conversion on your site.
The really bold claim here is that this funnel converts better than traditional landing pages.
Why? The reason given is fascinating. Because people trust conversational AIs more in 2025.
Wow. So the idea is the interaction with the helpful AI builds trust before they even hit your sales page.
That seems to be the hypothesis. You provide value first via the AI, build rapport, and then make the ask or recommendation. This pre-qualification and trust-building step, the source suggests, leads to higher conversion rates on the back end.
So the GPT acts as a sort of high-converting interactive pre-landing page, using that trust in AI to smooth the path to conversion.
It's a clever integration, potentially getting you more bang for your buck on ad spend even if the budget is low, by using the GPT to warm up the lead effectively.
Very smart. Okay, so we've walked through this whole intricate process, finding the problem, building the GPT, getting it seen, scaling it, tracking it, updating it, even using it in ads. What's the big picture? Step 10, the cumulative outcome.
Yeah, the conclusion really sums up what you're supposedly building here. It's way more than just a chatbot.
It lists these outcomes. A content distributor,
Because it shares your links.
lead magnet,
Because it attracts users solving problems.
a brand evangelist,
Because a helpful AI reflects well on you.
an SEO powerhouse,
Through indexing and the network effect.
and ultimately a 247 traffic magnet.
That phrase ties it all together. It reinforces that this whole strategy, executed properly, is designed to create a continuous automated flow of relevant traffic.
And the guide ends on a really strong note, calling custom GPTs the new secret weapon.
Yeah, and reiterating that point about early adoption leading to a bigger unfair advantage.
That unfair advantage line. It really frames this as something potentially game-changing for those who get in early and do it right.
Absolutely. It positions this not just as a neat trick, but as a fundamental shift in how online visibility and traffic generation can be achieved, offering a significant competitive edge. It's a very positive and compelling conclusion presented in the source.
Wow. Okay. Reflecting on this whole guide from Srinidhi Ranganathan, it really does lay out an incredibly detailed and, frankly, exciting blueprint, using custom GPTs not just for chat, but as strategic traffic drivers.
It feels very practical despite the futuristic angle.
Yeah.
Breaking it down into those steps, niche selection, intentional building, distribution, networking, tracking, updating, makes it seem, well, achievable.
Yet it offers this really distinct perspective on using AI to actively bring interested people to your corner of the internet, not just answer questions generally.
Turning the AI into a proactive part of your marketing funnel, a network of tireless ambassadors, like we said.
So if this guide's perspective holds weight, if custom GPTs are this new secret weapon offering an unfair advantage,
Well, that leaves a pretty provocative question hanging in the air for you, doesn't it? How does this potential strategy stack up against what you're doing now for traffic?
right, if this path exists and it's potentially as effective and efficient as described,
What might you be missing out on by not at least exploring it, by not experimenting with building even one or two of these AI ambassadors for your own niche? The source certainly makes a strong, positive case for giving it serious consideration right now.
definitely food for thought. That was our deep dive into this really compelling strategy for leveraging custom GPTs for website traffic based on the source material. We hope unpacking this step-by-step guide has sparked some ideas for you.